So the fashion icon I've chosen is Grace Jones. Grace Jones was born in Jamaica and moved to Syracuse, New York when she was 13. Syracuse in the 1980s was home to many immigrants from Africa and Central America. Poverty was rife there, and Syracuse had a declining population since the 1960s due to lack of job opportunities. This shows how our upbringing was affected by the wealth gap in America. It was in New York where Grace Jones' modelling career began. She had an illustrious career that began on the runway in the 1970s. She then went on to model for magazines such as Vogue and Elle, as well as designers such as Versace. Grace Jones' modelling career really took off when she moved to Paris. This is where she became a supermodel. She was made famous from her unique, bold and beautiful features, and people fell in love with her attitude and turn of phrase. She isn't scared of anyone and often outclassed interviewers who tried to belittle her forward thinking. She put many men in their place and famously had an argument with Andy Warhol at Arnie Schwarzenegger's wedding. Grace Jones impacted the world as we know it today. With her approach to music, acting and fashion, Grace Jones was nicknamed the Angel of Androgyny and kick-started the cross-dressing movement of the 1980s. This inspired artists such as Annie Lennox and Lady Gaga with their out-there style. She said to Interview magazine in 1984, "I do not care. I like dressing like a guy. I love it. When I was modelling, I used to do pictures where I would dress up like my little brother. No makeup, I look like a boy." This attitude is so relevant today with the rise of unisex clothes and collections from designers such as J.W. Anderson, Yeezy, Craig Green, Vetements. And her effects can also be seen in the rise of androgynous figures in the music industry, such as Harry Styles, Jaden Smith, Billie Eilish and Young Thug. Acting. Grace Jones celebrated a wonderful acting career and appeared in movies such as Conan the Destroyer, featuring Arnold Schwarzenegger, James Bond, A View to Kill, Deadly Vengeance and Boomerang, featuring Eddie Murphy. She was often playing a strong woman character that was fierce and rivaled male counterparts, and she often played with her sexuality and was quite provocative. In Conan the Destroyer, the film that propelled her acting career, she is a savage woman warrior and is seen in amazing physical domineering shape. Grace Jones is really sensational. She has all the flash and fire of a great rock stage star, and it fits perfectly into her role as Zula, the fierce fighter. Her most iconic performance came in A View to Kill, the James Bond film, where she played a henchwoman. This is where the famous picture was born of her lifting a man above her head with two hands. I think this perfectly summarises Grace Jones. Music. Grace Jones is a multi-talented and somewhat of a triple threat model, actress and musician. She signed a deal with Island Records and became a star of the Studio 54 Centre disco scene. Studio 54 is a disco nightclub located at 254 West 54th Street, between 8th Avenue and Broadway in Midtown Manhattan, New York. It had huge cultural importance to the disco scene in the USA. In the early 80s, however, Grace Jones moved to a more modern style. This is because disco became less popular, and she experimented with reggae and dancehall, and dropped hit singles such as Slave to the Rhythm, and I've seen that face before. She made a unique sound from a husky, deep-sounding voice. Nick Levine 2020. "I didn't care that I sound like a man or an entity, and acknowledges that her strange vocal techniques, somewhere between half speaking and half singing, perfectly complemented the androgynous visuals that she was developing. I think this shows how she displayed her trademark androgynous style through her music. Furthermore, she brought a more queer look and attitude into the mainstream. She was as queer as a relatively straight person could get. Her image celebrated brightness and subverted gender norms. She presented something we had never seen before in a pop performance," said by Dolly Bing Bing.